What's up? Welcome to Big Shots Extras, episode 9. I am Mike Kernishin. I am making my triumphant return after 2 weeks of you not having to hear my annoying voice. I am joined in the middle by Devin Jackson. I am joined on the right by Nick Price. No pointing because of dyslexia and how that works. Gentlemen, how are you tonight?
Fantastic. Great
very.
Go ahead.
I cut off Devin.
You can
already off to a great start, gents. Already off to a great start.
Devin, I'll let you finish.
We got the whole thing. Got interruptions. Whole got cats. Going by. But yeah, good.
It's just like old times.
You know, it's been a while. Like you said, we haven't done a podcast together in a couple weeks.
It's been so long. You know what? We could talk about that for a second. So I've had some scheduling conflicts that has kept me out from being able to do the Friday night show. Thankfully, you guys have been absolutely crushing it. And the feedback has been that it's been really good. And if we could just get rid of that annoying Mike guy. Fake good news. Job, guys.
Fake news.
However, I do kind of want to mention for the next little bit, there's going to be some changeover. My schedule and Nick's schedule never really mesh up well. Nick's got to go to bed really early and has to get up really early as well. I work, late. What will likely be happening going forward is that the Friday live show, more often than not, will be Devin and Nick. And then on the actual recording for the next little bit will be myself and Devin. However, next Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All three of us live on the Blue Chip channel on YouTube as well as on the Twitter page. We will be doing episode 100 of the Big Shots NFL Draft Podcast live. I can't believe we've hit 100 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, year 2, we definitely zoomed up.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Because we only had I want to say like around 30 something episodes.
Yeah, we did about 70 in like 14 months.
Yeah, so we had a lot of guests. Got to thank all the guests that have come on. Nick was one of them because we did a Ravens mock where I used.
I'm still mad I lost that head to head though.
I used Josh Uche as my secret weapon once again. Still undefeated in mocks that I was actually a part of. No. That was actually a part of. I did lose the one that I could not be on because of my old job. I will say that I didn't win that one, but I was.
Yeah, you can't say you're undefeated when you've lost. That's not how this works.
When I'm on camera, I'm undefeated.
You and your fucking semantics. No, it's just going to be a nice, relaxing show. There's been some news throughout the NFL. Obviously, training camp started up this week. We got our first major injury that we can talk about with Carson Wentz. Was it confirmed to be a Liz Frank, or was it?
No,
was it
confirmed
to not be?
It was confirmed not, but he will probably still miss a good bit of time. I mean, is it probably? I mean, it was a very precautionary reasons from what the reports are saying. But basically, he's going to be out for some time. So, draft Twitter darlings Jacob Eason and Sam Ehlinger will battle it out for starting quarterback position.
Do not want.
I already know what team I'm on, and it's definitely Jacob Eason.
Without a doubt. I mean,
that's like asking if I want to get hit by a train or an aircraft. Like, both seem uncomfortable and unpleasant.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
It took both of you a second to register that, and that was amazing.
Yeah, so, I mean, you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. I mean, Eason is what they have. They let go of Brissett. Rivers is gone. So, they really
what
have no
a massive changeover in their QB room in a year from Rivers and Brissett to Carson Wentz, Jacob Eason, and Sam Ehlinger.
The latter of the two have no NFL experience, and then you got an injury-prone quarterback on top of that. I mean, I don't know what the coach.
It's a good thing they have a good offensive line. I'll say that much.
Good offensive line, good running back.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of that Colts offensive line, Braden Smith got paid and a half. He got at least one Brinks truck full of money.
Good for him. I really liked him pre-draft.
What were the
definitely a brand guy.
What were the terms of his deal? This is great video.
I know it was 4 year. I want to say 72 mil.
I think so.
72 million. I think.
It
was a little bit less than what Ryan Ramczyk got for the Saints.
Yeah, so. 4 years, 72.4 per ESPN. That's good. He's a really good offensive tackle.
Can I interject?
Go for it.
Speaking of offensive line, so apparently, with which belong brothers for the Chiefs? Kyle. Yeah, it's Kyle. Yeah, he's out.
Retired.
Yeah, he's out injured. So apparently Trey Smith is starting at right guard, and then they've been putting Creed Humphrey at center. Listen, I like Ravens, and I guess I'm required almost by law to not like the Chiefs since they've kicked the Ravens' butts the last couple of years. But I like the idea of Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith playing football together.
That sounds really like an unpleasant experience for any defensive tackle that has to go up against them.
I mean, it's Brandon Williams' problem, not mine. So
he gets paid a lot more than you do, so
yeah,
he can handle that.
Yeah, he's built for
it. Yeah, but I mean, the Colts. Getting back to the Colts situation, I mean, they have a lot of weapons, and they're going to rely heavily on that running game, especially if they have to roll out either Sam Ehlinger or Jacob Eason. And you got second year running back Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, Naheem Hines. So they got a really solid backfield.
I forgot they still have Hines in that backfield too.
Yeah, I'm talking about embarrassment of riches. I mean, he's been kind of a hybrid player anyway, coming out of NC State. So he was actually a player that I liked, even though I wasn't even scouting at that time. Because I just love hybrid versatility type of players, and he definitely brings that. But I mean, the Colts, their roster is really solid. They have a really solid defense. Obviously, got Kenny Moore, Darius Leonard, and
who they also have to pay coming very soon. They got a lot of guys they need to pay.
Obviously, Quentin Nelson on the offensive line. Ryan Kelly's still going to be out for a little bit as well. I think he has an elbow injury. I think I saw that earlier in the day. So they have quite a bit of injuries, to some key players. So it's going to be interesting to watch them over the course of preseason and what they bring to the table. But I mean, this team isn't really built for a Super Bowl anyway. So if they can't have Wentz, one, they'll keep their first round pick, because I don't think we talked about that. If Carson Wentz doesn't play, I think there's a stipulation in the agreement that if he doesn't play 80% of the games or snaps or something like that.
It's 80% of the snaps if he plays them. Philly gets a first.
Right.
If not,
if they don't, yeah.
If not, it's a second.
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, the Colts are I don't know. It's very iffy right now, and you don't want to go into the start of the season with either of those quarterbacks starting with absolutely no experience, but at the same time, their offensive line will really help, plus the weapons they have at receiver.
One that I just saw scroll across my timeline. Have you seen this shit with Tyreek Hill calling out Usain Bolt for a race?
Oh God.
Are we still on this shit?
Apparently so.
I don't know what it is about Tyreek Hill, but just anytime Tyreek Hill is given a microphone, it manages to irritate part of my language. It manages to irritate the fuck out of me, because I mean, do you guys also remember when he was talking about how he was literally 1% body fat?
Yeah. I remember that.
And how that's literally physically impossible. He would die twice from that.
Unless you're Goku, but he's not real.
He's real in our hearts.
And it's Hill talking about how he could compete in the Olympics tomorrow for the 100-meter dash. It's just like all of the NBA players that talk about how LeBron would have been the greatest NFL player ever, which is hilarious, because if you've ever seen LeBron play basketball and be sent flying by campaign, I would have loved to see him get just like lit up by Ray Lewis, because I don't know if LeBron would ever get back up. Or like Kawhi Leonard says he would be a star wide receiver in the NFL, but he just hated going to practice. I get that type of vibe from Tyreek Hill. And if you're talking about racing the fastest man recorded ever on the planet, oh well, like he's old, so like he can't keep up with me. Tyreek, shut up.
It doesn't matter who he is. I mean, I don't care if you're the fastest player in the NFL. You're not touching Usain Bolt at all. Like I get, you're fast. We get it. You're probably the fastest player in the NFL right now. But it's a completely different ball game when you're on the track, because first of all, you gotta have
different training. It's different training entirely. You run a fast 40. Great. Yeah, does it translate?
Exactly. That plus the start. If you don't get a good start on him, you're going to lose, because his stride is ridiculous. So it's just typical training camp nonsense that someone asked him some crazy question, and of course he,
felt obligated to respond.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I don't know. That's always been a sticking point, because like the whole LeBron thing, and then the one that always makes me laugh is Kawhi. I would be the best receiver in the NFL, but I hated going to practice in high school.
Listen, the football is just different. It's just different. Like,
you get hit once and you go change your opinion on that.
Like,
you'll find out what a real hit is.
Just let your quarterback leave you out to dry one time. You'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to basketball.
You get one medicine. You get one medicine ball, and it's over.
Listen, there's been too many times in practice that's happened to me, like just straight up, just died on the field, and you gotta get up after that. It's not a fun feeling. So, LeBron, look, man, he had the physicality for the game for sure, but in terms of actually dealing with the grind and kind of him being an anomaly, there's really no successful 6'8" tight ends. They're just not built. Anybody that's over like 6'7" and that's not playing like offensive line, they just don't last well. His legs are gonna get taken out every play. So
ooh. Since we were talking about things that don't matter, like translating your 40 time into a 100-meter dash, I thought of the perfect segue, guys. There's something that's been released this week that every year the three of us need to remind folks that they don't matter. Would you like to inform? There we go. Madden ratings. Madden ratings don't matter. They absolutely do not matter whatsoever. I both love and hate Twitter whenever Madden ratings are released, because one, people tell on themselves all the time.
Yep.
All the time. Like, whether that's Madden, fans, or media, all three manage to. It's actually quite funny.
Well, the thing is, it's like, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because it's just a video game, man. I know a lot of people spend.
You know what makes it even better?
Hours.
It's a video game where you can change the ratings of those players anyways.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I understand. To me, I feel like NFL players might care a little bit more, and they should. I mean, they're in the game and they feel some type of way. That's fine. But I feel like, the fandom gets to a point where you just got to separate, like, this is people that spend their time going through and actually evaluating. Our guy that was on the podcast,
Andre.
Yeah, Andre, he told us the process is really cool. He actually watches film and evaluates these players like we do in the college process, the scouting players. So to me, I always got respect if you're taking time to do that. People may see it differently. I know the biggest thing today was about Zach Wilson's like throwing power. It was like 94, and everyone was freaking out about it.
Who could possibly care about shit like that? Well, it's not like they gave Drew Brees a 96 throw power.
That's true. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're just gonna watch the NFL games anyway, and it's gonna tell us anyway, and then they're
And,
gonna update them anyway. So
and it's not like this is 10, 15 years ago, closer to 15, where a player's Madden rating when the game dropped, that was it.
Yep.
When they didn't have weekly ratings adjusted, it gets changed all the damn time. I remember, I think Philip Lindsay's first year, he went from like a 60 overall to like an 84 by the end of it. Like these, they're like the draft process. It's a fluid process, and people just don't seem to get that. But I will say, guys, I want you to watch out for my sleeper at safety this year in Jesse Bates.
anywho, someone must have missed the memo. He was second team All Pro, but
Couldn't
we're gonna
be
transition.
me.
We're
Couldn't
gonna
be me.
Yikes.
We're gonna transition now.
I had to. I don't care.
Can we talk
You
about
do
my
you,
weird Jalen? Can we talk about my weird Jalen Whittemire take?
Oh,
Let's
you
hear
have a
it.
Whittemire take? Let's go.
I was incredibly disappointed. That's just my take.
Is it
I thought
because it takes him like a month to turn around to make a catch? Like,
Yeah. Listen, for as much hype as Whittemire has gotten, like in the last like 4 months, or perceived hype, I guess, I expected someone a bit. I mean, I don't want to say like Kyle Pitts, but like more in that realm of the spectrum than I did like closer to Logan Thomas. That's okay. That's a terrible thing to say. Oh my god, that was bad. That was a bad take. But you get what I'm saying, right? I expected a more dynamic athlete.
and you did not get that. No, you don't get that with him.
Listen, catch radius, hands, no issue. All right. I really don't trust his route running 100%. There's, like I said, he's not a very quick on his feet. He's more into like throwing his whole body into opponents, kind of just winning off physicality, which is okay. It's just that it's not exactly my cup of tea when I look at a tight end. And like I expected someone who's a bit more technically sound as a blocker for how big he is, a bit more strong at the point of attack. And it's just I was just very disappointed. Listen, he barely missed a round 3 grade for me, and I'm probably gonna look stupid by the end of the season. But I mean, it's summer. Like Dante says, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, as long as you get that final evaluation is closer to what he actually ends up going, or how he's valued. I mean, it's fine. To me, I mean, you gotta be able to have some sort of route running nuance to be successful at the next level. Because like right now, he could be a really good red zone tight end.
Yes.
He has the size, the body, the ability to make contested catches. But in terms of him taking that next step in development, he has to do that, and that's going to be something we have to monitor this year. But you, me, many other people kind of see him similarly in the fact that he is more like he has an athletic frame. He's an athletic player, but he just does not have long speed. He doesn't always have initial quickness. He doesn't. He's not very creative with the ball in his hand. So I definitely understand from that perspective and understand why people may be lower on him than some others are. I think it's very rich to have him anywhere in the top half of the first round. Like into the first round, second round, I see him being in that range right now because of just his raw ability, and his size.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to compare him to Kyle Pitts or any of those other guys that have went high and over the last couple of years, he's not.
If you're trying to compare him to Kyle Pitts, then I need you to like sit down and explain that to me like I'm 5, because I that's something I can't get with.
Maybe that's part of my problem, that I am expecting someone in that like same part of the spectrum as Kyle Pitts. Like I don't expect Kyle Pitts because like I don't think we'll ever see another Kyle Pitts for another 10 years probably.
Nope.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm coming off like such a year for like really dynamic tight end prospects that I'm expecting that again. Devin, do you have a comp for Whittemire? Because I have one of mine.
I'm trying to think here. To me, I would say I think he reminds me a little bit of a more athletic Kyle Rudolph, like the size, red zone ability, but doesn't necessarily have like speed, overall quickness, things like that. So I would think a more athletic Kyle Rudolph, I think, would be a nice comp for him.
As long as you use him the right way, I think that like if you come in and don't immediately expect him to be like a focal point of your offense or even a tight end 1, I think he's got to start as like a 1B or a tight end 2 because he's just not there yet.
He's like
the same thing.
Go ahead.
Kind of thinking the same thing, like Rudolph, but also like a height, weight type of deal. He kind of gives me like Mercedes Lewis vibes a tad.
You know what? That might be a better. I like that. Yeah. You mentioned that you had been disappointed by a player that's gotten a lot of hype. I also came away disappointed with a player that's gotten a lot of hype. I watched Cordell Volson, the North Dakota State tackle, this past week, and why? Just why? I don't get it. I'm seeing him like top 50, top 75, and no, absolutely not. Here's my thing. So I only watched the 2021 film, like the spring ball, because I had watched enough of him with Dylan Radins. So I wanted to see how he did when he's supposed to be the leader of that offensive line.
Did he move to left tackle in 2021?
North Dakota State's offensive coordinator he gonna get these hands, because I have never seen on the same drive a player play left tackle, right tackle, and left guard with no injuries happening at any point on that drive. They just kind of decided to flip their offensive line. I guess they thought they had 3 guys that were good in all 3 positions. So trying to track Cordell Volson at times was a nightmare, because you'd be looking for the number, and no, he's not at right tackle this play. Now he's playing left guard, and then the very next play, he's back out at right tackle. Then 3 plays later, he's playing left tackle. It was on the same drive, not even drive to drive. It made no sense to watch. But hang on, let me pull up my report, because for someone his size, he's 6'7", 320-ish is what I think he's listed at by the Bison. He can't get down low. It's the same problem I had with the Northern Iowa kid from this year, Trevor Penning. Another guy where I wanted to see how good he was when the big man on campus isn't there. By the way, Trevor Penning, also gigantic at like 6'8" and 330.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, big dude. Hashtag big old boy. Yeah, but Volson's like a 6th-year senior now. Balance improved from 2019 season to 2021 spring season as he played with better leverage. However, still has a tendency to stand straight up or lean into his matchup rather than squat and direct. Stronger rushers will be able to overpower him. Can be overly aggressive at times, which will lead to more holding calls. However, on the whole, his hand placement is relatively good. What else? Anchor needs improvement. Really stiffened movement, which limits his ability, like his flexibility and recovery speed. So what I got is a right tackle that has a halfway decent kick slide, but can't be used on pull blocks, which limits him in terms of he can't play left tackle. He's not fast enough in terms of reaction time to play left tackle. Doesn't have the foot speed in order to play inside to be like a pulling guard. He's a one position player. Like he doesn't have right tackle, left tackle flexibility. It showed this year. And he's just, when he played inside at guard, it wasn't good. And I'm not taking that guy even on day 2. He ended up with a 5th round grade for me. Got a 65 out of 100.
Yeah, I have not got into hardly any FCS prospects this
As
summer,
you
but
shouldn't. That's my job.
I know, but yeah, I mean, I definitely want to take a look at him and see, because like you say, he's been getting quite a bit of hype on draft Twitter, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him over the course of the season. But I mean, hopefully he bounces back in
Mhm.
the fall season. I mean,
I
it
mean,
was.
he's a 6th-year guy, though, man. Like, the odds of him finally.
I mean, it's not a good look,
No.
considering that, and then also his age. I mean, you don't usually take cornerstone left tackles that are 5th or 6th year seniors. It just doesn't
Yeah.
happen often in the top 100. So,
Oh, I want to get this out there because I'm amazed I wasn't roasted for this.
Oh,
My top 10 quarterback rankings. No one seemed to roast me the way I thought anyone would.
honestly, I mean, it's a wide open quarterback class. So,
All I got was someone saying that they were just going to bookmark it. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's July.
it's because their
Luck
beloved
and change.
Daniels. It's because their beloved JT Daniels wasn't on the list, but
No, he was on the list. He was just at the bottom of the list. He's not
it
good.
wasn't high enough.
But no, I mean, I think so. If anyone missed it, it's Spencer Rattler at 1, Phil Dracovic, Boston College 2, Sam Howell 3, Carson Strong 4, Malik Willis 5, Connor Basilik of Missouri at 6. That is I thought was gonna be a huge sticking point because he doesn't have the production, but the traits and the play has been fantastic. The tape is really good. There's just not a lot of it, and I had him ahead of Matt Corral. Then Keaton Slovis at 8 just doesn't have the arm strength. Desmond Ritter at 9 doesn't have the accuracy. Oh, God. Desmond Ritter couldn't complete his way out of a paper bag. And then JT Daniels at 10.
I did not hear one Caleb Ellaby, which
I haven't done Caleb Ellaby, so that would
it's
be
okay because I did.
Let's talk about Caleb Ellaby. Let's end on a high note.
Well, so he definitely fit what people were saying about him in terms of he has some really good arm talent. That is the first thing that stuck out in my mind. I mean, he made some wild throws on film, from rolling outside of the pocket to just being able to deliver, long passes, and really just showing that he can, deliver the ball all 3 levels. Like that's not a problem for me. Where I started to have an issue is that their offense is very, very simplistic. It's RPO based. You're basically in the pistol or shotgun almost every play. You're reading the front side or backside linebackers. You're throwing slants. You're throwing a lot of quick game like outs, curls, slants, like I just said. There's really not a lot of long developing plays. And he's not getting off his first read consistently, like at all. Like pretty much, especially in like RPO situations, if that first read is not there, he struggles to find the second, third, and fourth read. So that was kind of my biggest thing and kind of the biggest deduction on why he ended up with a 4th-round grade from me, because he just has tools. He has traits kind of like the Missouri quarterback you talked about earlier, but he also runs a system that does not really translate to the next level. It's like a very simplistic version of what North Carolina runs, like even simpler than that. So that was kind of why I ended up with a 4th-round grade on him. I think he has solid mobility. He's not going to be a burner in open field. He's not like a Malik Willis in his class or anything like that. But he does show some mobility inside and outside of the pocket, and the ability to deliver the ball on the run. There are times, though, just in the pocket that he kind of struggles to feel the rush, like surround the pocket closing around him, and that's because for whatever reason he always is looking to escape if that first or second read isn't there. So you see him sometimes bail the pocket when he doesn't need to. You see him also try to play hero ball sometimes. That ability to create out of structure sometimes gets him in trouble because his internal clock is a little bit slower than you would like. And then kind of mechanics wise, there were a lot of tip passes at the line of scrimmage that I saw kind of in the last couple games that I watched of him. And for whatever reason, the ball was coming out really low out of his arm. And I know he can throw from multiple arm slots and whatnot, but just in general, I thought it was, kind of a negative, I would say, just how often his passes got tipped at the line. And that's also due to his size. He's only listed at like 6'1", 205. So he doesn't have the ideal size you would like to see in a quarterback. But overall, like I said, I like his traits. I like what he brings to the table. I like his arm. I would like to see a larger sample size for one, and then two, kind of expand that offense a little bit so he's not just running RPO type stuff, and we can actually see him operate in somewhat of a modern offense.
Well, I want to see how he does without Dwayne Eskridge this year too.
That too, because a lot of his passing yards, in like the Eastern Michigan game, it was literally a bunch of yak yards from Eskridge, because he just take a slant and just take it, 40, 50 yards, because he can create explosive plays. There's also a lot of explosive plays off of screens as well. So we'd just like to see him attack down the field a little bit more, especially over the middle of the field. He rarely attacked the middle of the field if it wasn't a slant.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick, anything you want to talk about before we end up just kind of calling it?
Not really.
I mean, we're going to talk live in a couple of days, anyways, and it's going to be a big one.
There's some stuff, like there's a couple of prospects. Like I'm doing tight ends this week, so there's a couple of like guys I would like to say for the podcast. Namely, one Cincinnati prospect that I think I has already got some fans around draft Twitter.
Oh yeah. I know he is.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna kind of tease this right now. I'm gonna talk about Grant Calcaterra, since he is back in college football, and I know he had some serious hype a couple years ago. I should rather say he had some serious fans a couple years ago. So excited to see how he plays. I did his evaluation this afternoon. So
yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah, definitely. But again, thank you for everyone for coming in and checking us out live. We will be back Monday, 6:30 p.m. So if you're watching this on Blue Chip's Twitter page, just come back here. If you're watching this on Blue Chip's YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, then hit that little bell so that you never miss when any of us go live, whether it's the three of us, whether it's the Draft Nut Live show with Devin and Jared Feinberg, or just any interviews that we happen to get and throw up live on the channel, just so that you're always kept up to date. You can follow me on Twitter, MikeH_draft, RealD_Jackson for Devin, PriceCheck3 for Nick. And before we get out of here, I just want to say a big shout out to Ben Solak of the Draft Network. Best of luck wherever he goes next. I put this out on Twitter earlier today. The original flow of the big shots before Nick was added to the equation, when it was just Devin and I, was modeled a lot after Ben and Trevor for Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. So thank you guys so much for really allowing more people to have fun doing podcasts and not having to take everything so seriously. That's what we aim for here. As you could tell, if this is your first time tuning in, I don't take myself seriously whatsoever. The name of the show is kind of tongue-in-cheek. We call ourselves the Big Shots. None of us are. None of us carry ourselves like that either. But again, shout out to Ben Solak, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, one of the smartest people you'll ever meet too. So, again, big influence on all three of us. But until next time, guys, y'all have yourselves a